Hi, it's Brian Rose and Colin Powell from Silicon Reel. It's week 8. It's been a crazy adventure. We've met some of the coolest and most innovative people here in London's technology startup scene.
Yeah, it's been an incredible time, blown away all my expectations, and I just can't wait to keep on doing it.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. It doesn't stop here in the studio. We go out to the Silicon Drinkabout, sponsored by the Three Beards, and about 2 weeks ago, we met the guys at Accenture, and they told us about the FinTech Innovation Lab, and it's this really exciting new program that's happening right now.
Yeah, and it's perfect location. One of the main themes really has been that London has a great opportunity to sort of rule the world in financial technology.
And they're accepting applications from all over the world for any idea you have in fintech. So you can apply up to September 8th. If you're selected, you have like a Dragon's Den style pitch day. And from those people, they select another group and incubate them from January to March of next year. Everything finishes in one big pitch day with VCs there, bank CTOs. It's just an amazing program.
Yeah, the access really is the thing that blows me away. If you're running a fintech startup right now, you know how hard it is to get a hold of these guys. Could take you years. And here they are mentoring you for 3 months. So you really, really should get on the ball here and take advantage of this.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be partnering with these guys. We're going to follow the process for the next 7 months and see what gets produced. And I just think it's the same mentality as Silicon Reel, paying it forward and try to break down some of those innovators' dilemmas that we talk about every week on the show.
Yeah, really, that's the key. The only way the banks are going to improve is if they can get access to the people that are innovating, and this really breaks down that wall.
Until then, we'll keep bringing you great guests, kind of the behind the scenes of what's going on here on the Silicon Roundabout. We'll keep bringing it every week on Silicon Reel, so stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Invested a little bit in Baidu, and I rode a motorcycle around China. So I got some sort of ideas about China. What's your take on China? 5 years, 10 years? Is it going to keep going up or flat or crash?
Yeah, it goes. What I say about China is it's a difference between, as I said earlier, investment, building great companies or great countries, great economies, and pricing investments are two different things. So I think China is an amazing place. We were one of the first people in. We bought 38% of Baidu, I think, for $10 million.
Yeah. So Baidu, for if people don't know, is like the Google.
The Google of China.
Right,
yeah. And incredibly successful for us. We did a number of other things as well. The whole market got incredibly overheated, and pricing, got a little bit crazy. And there was a huge land grab. I think China's not going away as a long-term economy. It's a big market player. They've got to develop their own internal market, and there's innovation going on there. We're talking to a lot of Chinese investors who are looking to come to the UK to learn about innovation. One thing we haven't really touched on is kind of where innovation comes from, which I talk about, and why London is so important in that. Yeah. People. Something like between 50-60% of the world's population living in cities, and within a decade or two, it'll be 70%. Countries are only a recent invention. Countries didn't exist 1,000 years ago, really. They were kingdoms and fiefdoms, and we invented countries a few hundred years ago. Countries might not exist in the future. Cities are where all of the power lies and where everybody's moving to. And it's kind of weird with the internet and distributed information why people are coming to cities more and more. But it's happening, and it's because human interaction and cross-pollination and all kinds of exciting things. And it's actually where innovation happens. Innovation happens when two people from different backgrounds come across each other, start talking, and people go, wow, this can go with that.
In a physical sense, you think?
In a physical sense.
Right. It can't be virtual.
You can be, and there are some great startups that have, I know some great startups whose founding teams have never met. Some of the bigger names on the internet are actually 4 or 5 guys who actually met on the internet. So some internet startups can work, but actual innovation comes across from people sitting around a beer, cross-pollinizing ideas, and that happens in cities more and more. And if you do a list of the world's cities by GDP population, London comes out about 5th in the world. So it's one of the most important places. You kind of got Tokyo, New York, London. There is, I think Beijing's up in there.
Shanghai, yeah.
Shanghai. And San Francisco is number 27, by the way. right? So
Is that because as an urban area, it's quite small?
yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
in terms of GDP population, but you have to just, where do ideas come from? Where does cross-pollination come from? And it comes, there's going to be more and more innovation and things happening in London. You know, Zuckerberg was a psychology graduate who, then came across some computer science guys and created Facebook. He wasn't a computer scientist guy. And, London is amazing for that. And one of the biggest untold stories in London is the healthcare and medical side of innovation, which goes on and isn't really told. And we have this tech city IT side everybody's talking about, but we've got the Francis Crick Centre being built at the back of King's Cross, which is a $1 billion, 1,500 scientists being put together to solve the world's top health problems. So you've got Google there, you've got Amazon, you've got Shoreditch, and you've got one of the biggest medical research centres on the planet being built, funded with $1 billion. And all kinds of interactions and things are going to come out of that, and cross-pollination. Let me give you a small example. Cancer Research UK raise money in buckets in train stations to do cancer research, and then they fund clinical trial. And when you get a clinical trial, you get all the data, and you pay PhD students to go through the data looking for patterns and things. Cancer Research UK held a hackathon earlier this year in Shoreditch, and they said, why don't you guys come up with some ideas what we can do with this data? And they came up with a mobile phone game, which was then made available. People downloaded the game with real life clinical data from cancer trials, played the game looking for patterns, and they did the full research in 1 month at higher accuracy than paying PhD students for 18 months.
Wow.
So that's,
They crowdsource their research.
they crowdsource their research, where some people from, and that's why London is such an amazing place. You've got all of this innovation, we've got all these, you've got this population, we've got incredible hospitals, universities, we've got Shoreditch, we've got so much going on. We've got this cultural, disciplinary, swarm of ideas. Not all of them work, but that is where true innovation comes from. And that's what, going back to China, we have Chinese investors coming over here trying to learn, where does true innovation come from? Where do these great British inventions, the internet and TV and everything we've invented, how does that happen? But a lot of it just comes from risk-taking, free thinking, and multidisciplinary crossover. And the other thing you have to remember, in the Valley, half the companies in the Valley are started by immigrants. They go there because there's some money there. But actually, if the money was in London, are the Europeans or the Chinese or the Indians, would they like to come and live in a city like London versus Palo Alto? Yeah, Palo Alto's great, but you just think about that for a minute. If the money was here, the opportunities here, the cross-pollination of ideas is here. I think, and you drew a map of the world based on cities, not countries. Get rid of countries; they don't exist. London is 5th in the world. And it's pretty exciting about what could happen here in the next decade.
And innovation effectively comes from population density at the right GDP.
It comes from cross-pollination of ideas. And I'll give you another example. There's, I can go on forever, but the last industrial revolution was in the UK, in Birmingham. And there was, Joshua Wedgwood used to hold something called the Lunar Society. And that was a dinner held on the full moon of each month, hence the Lunar Society. And at that dinner was Joshua Wedgwood, who was doing pottery. There was James Watt, who went on to invent the steam engine. Right. There were the scientists who did all the laws around, my brain's gone, around water and thermodynamics. And around that table, the guy discussing thermodynamics made James Watt think about, I could make an engine for that. And because Joshua Wedgwood was there with lots of manual power, he said, I'll buy one from you. And around a dinner table in Birmingham 300 years ago, cross-pollination of ideas invented the Industrial Revolution. And that kind of, we probably need a Lunar Society in London or something, but it's going to happen here because it's going to be the random different types of people with different ideas crossing over each other and saying, I've got this problem, and somebody going, wow, I've got a solution for that. And that comes from huge populations, but also from lots and lots of different activities. We've got the city, we've got the advertising industry, we've got a huge medical research facility, we've got Shoreditch. The list goes on why there's so many opportunities in London for us to invent and create new companies and new ideas.
Love it.
Great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of population density and just how many crazy things that can happen just from these people bumping into each other.
Absolutely.
And
Immigration's so big here too, right? Which is just amazing. You get people from China, but from all over the world. Things happen differently other places. And I love traveling, going around, and I come up with my best ideas, and sort of just the way I think about things when I come back from traveling is completely different than before I left. And I think that's such a good refreshing. And when people come here with different ideas, it's phenomenal.
It is the greatest advantage of London, and one of the US's biggest weaknesses is they're changing a bit, but it is still quite an insular thinking country, and that's probably their biggest weakness. But they're doing pretty well.
value. But knowing that you have to add value from day one and that just generally being smart doesn't have value was a really, really useful bit of guidance.
Okay. Last part of this question, and I'm going to ask you this same question next. To the 20-year-old that's listening to this right now, and they're thinking,